Hi and welcome. In this video I'm going to show how to model a steel structure, warehouse and G+1 deck slab building using Tekla structures software. This is the 3D model. After finishing the modeling for the whole structure, I'm going to show step by step the procedure of the modeling. It will be divided to three main parts: the warehouse structure, then the G+1 deck slab building, then the concrete parts, foundations and the beams. Okay, first step, we will create the grids. So by double click on the grid, we will get this window and we'll start with the warehouse grids. In the X direction we'll have at 0, 0. We'll have the first grid at 0, then 3 grids at 7.2. In the Y direction we will have grid A, B, C at 0, then 2 grids at 8 meter. And in the Z direction we will have first grid at 0, then 3.6, then 7.2, then the ridge will be at 8.5 meter. And here in the labels we will give the numbering in the X direction: 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 grids, so we'll delete the fifth one. Then in the Y direction we have 3 grids, A, B, C. And in the Z direction we will have the levels: 3,600, and then 7,200, then 8,500, and the others are the same. These are the extension of the grids. So we click modify. We are getting these grids like this. The next step, we'll start creating the columns. By holding shift and click on the column icon, we'll get the property. For the main columns of the warehouse, we are going to use W250 by 44.8. Apply. OK. Then the material, we'll select the material. Our material for the columns will be A53, which is this one. Apply. OK. Then the color of the column, you can select any color from here. And here we have the top and bottom points. So the bottom will start at 0 and the top will go up to 7,200. So by clicking on the grids, the column will be created like this. So we will create the columns on grid number 1. Then right click interrupt. Next step, we are going to create the elevations at all grid lines and the plans also by selecting the grid, then right click, going to create a view, then along grid lines, create. So these are elevations at the grid lines, and the plans also at the different levels have been created. So by selecting the required view, then click on this arrow, it will be on the screen like this. So this is the elevation at grid line number 1. So we are going to create the rafters here. Hold shift and click on the beam icon. For the rafters we are going to use W410 by 60. It is by default already selected there. If you want to change the section from here, you can go and select any section you want as per your design. Okay. Again, the material A53 and the color of the beam, I will keep it green. So by clicking on this corner and the top point, the ridge point, this is the rafter, create like this. Then the other side, from this point to this point. Okay, right click interrupt. Now next step, we will create the base plate connection by going to the 3D. So we will create the base plate for this column by going to the component, then type 1042, which is the base plate connection number, this one. Click, then click on the column and the point of the connection, like this. The base plate created. Double click on this base plate. This window for the property. We'll go to the parts. The thickness 20 is okay, and dimension 250 by 350 okay. I'll keep it same. Then go to the anchor rod. The anchor rod diameter will increase it from here up to 20. Apply okay. Then the net also. From here we are going to use M20, and the washer also M20. Apply okay. Now for the grout, if you have a grout, you have to mention the thickness of the grout here, as in this our case we have grout, so we are mentioning 25 and it's below the base plate. If you don't have, you have to uncheck these, like here. If I eliminate these two and modify, I have to delete also this one, modify, like this our base plate will be without grout. In our case we have 25 mm grout and it's below. Modify, it's like this. Now here the anchor rod dimensions, here we have 50 total above the base plate, it's okay. And the threaded part we have 120, it's okay. These all given information, it's okay. The total length of the anchor rod is 400. Then we click modify, apply okay. Right click, interrupt, and then right click, redraw. So this is our base plate have been created. We can also use the same connection for this column by clicking on this component. Click on the column, then click on the point of the connection. The same base plate will be created here. So after that, we will create the connections between the rafter and the column, and at the ridge point, the apex connection. Again, by going to elevation at grid number 1 by pressing Ctrl I, the shortcut. You can also go to grid 1 here. For this connection between the beam and the column, we are going to component 144, which is the end plate connection, this one. Click this component, then click on the column, then select, just we have to press Ctrl 4 to make it active. Then now select the component 144, select the column, and then pick the beam, like this. The connection created. We will go to the 3D now to see this connection. If you go to the setting, you can also select the automatic rotation center. So if you activate the selection, you can use the center by the mouse, center of rotation. It's a very useful option. Okay, now it is yellow, so there is some issue we have to rectify. So by double click on this component, okay, we'll check the plate. We will give the plate thickness like 16, modify. Then we will go to the stiffeners, thickness of the stiffeners. We will use 20, 20, 20, 24, all 4 stiffeners. Then from here we can use inclined stiffeners or straight stiffeners. In our case, we will use the straight stiffeners. Click modify, so the stiffeners like this created from both sides. Then we will go to the bolts. From here we will select the bolt standard first. We will go to A325M. Then the bolt diameter, I'll select 20. This is the tolerance, 1.59, it's okay. Then we have to give this all informations. This distance, keep it 50, and the distance also from the other side, from the bolt center to the edge of the plate. Then here we have 4 rows spaced at 70, and here down we will give also the edge distances and the number of rows, the 2 rows from both sides, and space at 90. We'll say modify, so our connection will be like this. We can also adjust if you like. You can increase this distance between the bolts, make it like 90, modify, it will be like this. And we can also increase it 100, modify. If you would like also to increase the edge distance, you can make it 70 and down, so it will be like this. This is our connection. Modify, apply, OK. Then the same connection will create it at this side. So by clicking the component, pick the column, then pick the beam, the same connection will be created here with the same details as you see. Now we'll go to make the apex connection. Right click, interrupt. So for the apex connection, we can go to the connection 106, which is this one with the hunch. So select the component, then pick the first beam, the second beam. The connection will be created like this, as you see. Now we can go to the property and give the proper property. This one, the distance, if you want, we can increase it to 25 above the rafters. Then modify. Okay, then we'll go to the parts, the end plate thickness, we will give 16, hunch web will give also 16, and hunch flange will give 16. Then we will click modify. Okay, it will be like this. Then go to the bolts. In the bolts you will give the material of the bolt, then the diameter 20, the tolerance you will select like 1.6 mm. Then here we will give the distance, we will select 100, then for number of bolts at 90 mm, and in this direction we will keep 50 mm from the edge and 2 rows at 90 mm. Then modify. We will have like this. If you would like to add bolts here, either you increase the spacing between these bolts or increase the number of rows. Okay, I will increase number of rows by adding 1 row, modify, and it will be like this. This bolt is very close to the flange. We can increase the distances. We can make it 100, modify, then apply, OK. So this is our apex connection, like this, have been created. Now the next step, we will copy this frame to the other grids. So you can select all, like this, right click, copy, and we can pick the grids one by one like this. See, our frames have been created. Interrupt, then redraw. So these are our frames. Next, we will create the strut between the frames, the horizontal beams. So by holding shift and click on the beam, we will go to the property window. For the horizontal beam, we will use W200 by 22.5. From here, from the property, we can go to the W200 by 22.5. Apply. OK. The material same, A53. The color you can change to any color. We'll select the yellow. Then we have to create the point of the connection between the beam and this column. So again, I'll go to grid number 1. Then from edit, I'll go to the point at any position. I'll create the point at this position. Okay, this is the point. So select this point, then right click, move special, linear, clear all first. In the Z direction, I will move this point by minus 100 mm, move. So this is the connection point. Right click, interrupt, go to the 3D again. Now we will select this point and right click, copy. We will move this point from this grid to this grid. Sorry, copy, not move. So again, going to our beam, already selected the property and the material. Then click this point to this point. This is our beam created like this. We will connect this beam with the column. Practically, during the erection phase, better to keep piece of this beam welded to the column, so it will be easy to connect. I'm going to show you how to make this connection properly. So first we'll select, first interrupt, select this point, then right click, copy linear. We will copy this point in X direction by, let us make it 200, the part, then right click, interrupt, go to edit, split, then we will pick the position. So we are splitting this beam into two parts. This small part during fabrication will be welded to this column. So we need a plate connection here, so it will be easier outside to connect this beam with the column. So go to the components and type supplies. We are looking for the supplies plate, and we will go to supplies type 156, this one. So click this part and this part, right click, interrupt. So this is the default. Now we will optimize this connection. The parts, plate thickness 16, okay. Then go to the bolts, select the bolt grade, then diameter 20, okay, tolerance 1.6, okay. And here we will have this distance, make 70, and here we have 2 rows, and in between there is 70 also, and here keep 70 and here 70, these distances, and this direction also 2 rows with 70 spacing. Modify, we'll have like this connection, okay. Then we'll go to the secondary part bolts, use the bolt size, and then we'll select these distances like 70 and from this side we can use also 50, 2 rows at 70 mm, and this distance also, so we can make it 50. Here we can use 50 by 50 and 2 rows at 70, modify, so the connection will be like this. A little bit this, we can shift these bolts, so we can reduce this to 30, modify, and this make it also 30, modify, so our connection will be like this. As you see, we have created this connection, so similar to this connection we will create at the other side, and again we have to select this point and right click, move linear in the X direction -200, move, then interrupt, again go to edit and split. We'll split this beam at this point. Okay, then the same connection will be created here, which is this one. Again we'll select this main part, this secondary part, so connection will be created like this. Now we can copy this beam to the other side, so we'll select the beam and the secondary parts also, and right click, copy from this grid to that grid, so like this beam created with the connections. Okay, now we'll copy these two beams to the other grids. Select by holding Ctrl, and so right click, copy, again from grid 1 to grid 2, then to grid 3, then the beams created like this, as you see. Okay, now we'll proceed to create the cross bracing between these two columns. Go to grid 1, Ctrl I, and go to grid 1. Okay, create point here, from edit, point at any position. We'll create a point here, right click, interrupt, then select this point, right click, move linear in the Z direction, we'll move it -200, move, it's like this. Then we'll create the other point, right click, interrupt, point at any position, and then we'll select point here, select the point, right click, move linear in the Z direction 200, positive. So these are the 2 points. Then select this point and select the other point, go to the 3D, right click, copy from this grid to this grid. So now these points created on the second column. Okay, we will go to the beam, shift and click the beam, then we will go and select the bracing profile, its angle profile, and go to the angle profile, 3 inch by 3 inch, 4.8, this one, apply, okay. After selecting the beam section, we are going to create this beam from this point to this point, and the other beam from this point to this point, and we have to check, we have to be sure that the flat surface to the same side, they are not, So this beam need to be reversed to the other direction. So I'll create from this point to this point in the other direction. So now, as you see, the flat surface to the outer side of the two angles. Now we can create the connection. Now going to the component, type 11, we'll select this component bolted gazette number 11, and we are going to start the first connection, the angle of the column. We'll click the main part, then the secondary part, then click the mid mouse button. Connection created like this. As you see, we'll go and optimize this connection. So double click. Okay, this is the picture. This, as you see, if you want the angle of this plate to be parallel to the angle section, here you have to type this is the angle and this is the angle. You have to type here 0 and here also 0 and modify, as you see, and it will be straight. The gazette will give the plate thickness, we'll make it like 10 mm, modify. Okay, after that we'll go to brace bolt 1, select the bolt standard, then the diameter 16, tolerance okay. Then here we select middle, and these distances will be 30, and here also 30, and here 2 rows at 70 mm distance. In this direction, 1 row only at 70 mm. Modify. So the connection modified like this, as you see, it's created. So apply OK. We will apply this connection for the other connections. Select the column, then pick the angle, the mid mouse button will be created like this. The other side also, as you see here, pick the column, pick the angle, then mid mouse button. This also pick the column, pick the angle, mid mouse button. Okay, now we'll come to the mid connection. Again, we'll go to this connection and we'll go to the brace bolt 2. You have to give the other side. Again, bolt standard 16 diameter, then here middle, then the same connection will select. Okay, for this angle we have to split one of these two angles. We will split this angle to 2 parts and we will keep this angle 1 part. So going to the edit, point at any position, then we'll click at any position. Let us see here, right click, interrupt, then we go to edit, split. We'll select the part will be splitted, and at this point we'll split to 2 parts. As you see, this angle now it is 2 parts, while this angle I keep it as 1 part. Now again, use this connection, select the main part, then pick the other 2 secondary part, then mid mouse button. The connection will be like this. Right click, interrupt, and we can modify this connection more. We can go to this angle, make it like 30 by 30 and modify, and as you see it is like this. the connection between the two angles. So now I'm going to copy this bracing to the other grids. Select, press Ctrl, select this bracing, right click, copy from this grid to this grid. Okay, and at the other side we will make mirror for these two bracing. Select again the bracing, both bracing we will select, then right click, copy special mirror, and we will mirror it on this grid from this point to this point, and copy will be mirrored like this. Right click, interrupt. See, now our bracing mirror to the other side. Okay, after that we have to create the bracing for the roof. Again we will go to grid 1, Ctrl I, grid 1, edit, points at any position. Then we will select this point. Okay, then again move this point linear in the Y direction. We will move this point clear in the Y direction, minus 200, move, and the other side also create point at any position, at this position. Then we'll copy this point or move, right click, move linear, and in the Y direction we'll select 200, move, okay, interrupt, and we will copy these points to the other grid. Go to 3D view, select this point, press Ctrl and select this point, right click, copy from this grid to this grid, right click, interrupt, these 2 points copied here. Okay, now we will create the cross angle. Select the angle from this point, click to this point, then from this point to this point, and we will check. As you see, these are the angles. The flat face to the same side. We will split one of these 2 angles. We'll split this angle. So let us create a point here at any position. We'll select point at any place, then split, select the angle will be splitted at this point. So we'll have this angle 2 apart, as you see. Again, we will go to the component connection, the same connection, number 11. Then we'll select the main angle, then the other 2 parts. Click the mid mouse button. The connection created like this. So by creating this connection, we can right click, interrupt, right click, redraw. We will copy this bracing from this grid to this grid. Right click, interrupt. Again, we will select both bracing and we will make mirror. Right click, copy special mirror and clear first, then mirror on this grid. Copy. Okay, so it is mirrored like this. So now up to this point we have created the frames and the strut beams between the frames and the bracing between the columns and roof bracing. Okay, next video we'll proceed creating the purlins and the other members. Thank you for watching.